Have a broken window or rock chip on your vehicle that needs repair? Give us a call at HM Auto Glass, 951-858-5190. HM Auto Glass is your locally owned and operated auto glass specialist, offering low cost and high quality auto glass repair and replacement. We also work with all major insurance companies and offer free mobile service. So call us, 951-858-5190. That number again is 951-858-5190.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-643-9406. That's 1-800-643-9406. Again, 1-800-643-9406. Call now.
The founder of a world-renowned symphony made up of children.
The Inland Empire's most heroic teacher.
The world-famous mixed martial arts hero, Baptiste Mansour.
The lady who's saving homeless kids in Redlands.
The Inland Empire has thousands of community, business, and kid heroes. Each week, we share their stories with you. Join us for My Awesome Empire and find out why the Inland Empire is so great.
Saturday afternoons at 5 p.m. on AM 1050 and KCAAradio.com.
The other station claims to be local. Since when is Glendale local? KCAA News Talk 1050, your true local station.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, love, laugh, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Fay on UBNradio.com.
And welcome. You are tuned in to a weekly talk radio show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon on Universal Broadcasting Network out of the Sunset Gower Studios, and every Thursday and Saturdays now on my syndicated CNBC News Radio channel, KCAA AM 1050. And you're listening to a show about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K-words. No Kardashian talk at all. Instead, we encourage you to focus on your own reality show, which is your life, and how you can be happy 88% of the time. And first of all, just to say hello to a couple of wonderful organizations that I got to work with this last week. Special Olympics, partnering with U.S. Sailing Center, of which I am a part of when I race every Wednesday night. We got to host the delegation from China, and I got to do a lot of rusty Mandarin speaking, and it was wonderful meeting the Special Olympics team, and it's going on. For those of you who don't know, this is Reach Up or Reach Up LA. We are hosting it in Los Angeles, and it's a wonderful place to support. And if you go to LA 2015, you can continue to support this fabulous, worthy event. And the nicest thing is one of the young men in the party actually recognized me, because apparently I'm a big deal in China, thanks to the Marie Claire China article last year that came out naming me as one of the influential women of 2014, and I made it in front of Stella McCartney. So it was a good year last year, and it continues to be. And for those of you who are tuned in today, and I know that some of you actually don't tune in until the last week of the month, because they are definitely into my special series, Sexual Healing with Dr. Marissa. And for those of you who didn't know that you were going to be listening to talk about positive sex talks for the next hour, this is why I actually started this series. It started over a year ago when Dr. Pat Allen came on, and I had such a great time talking about romance and sex and relationships for Valentine's in February. And then when I was doing the research, I saw so much about how women still are not feeling good about themselves down there, good about themselves all over, and certainly faking orgasms, up to 85% women faking orgasms. And I thought, you know what? We're going to not just do this February, we're going to do this all year. So every last week of the month, I have a sexpert come on, pun intended, to talk about how to get more pleasure from your life. Now, every once in a while, we also have sexual healing. Like last month, we had Paul Ganosho, who was a documentary of how to heal from sexual addiction. And I also had one for, healing or stopping the female genital mutilation in Sierra Leone. So we do that side, but most of the time, I want a safe and fun place to talk about how to get more pleasure, which is one of the highlights of this thing called life. So today is absolutely no exception. I have a friend, actually, thanks to Jarvis, a new old friend who's coming on with me. She's a sexpert. She is Healthy Sexy Life on Facebook, so you can go check her out right now. Her name is Tinetta Denier. Welcome to the show. So glad you're here. And you are a sexpert because you talk about sex and you actually coach people on many different things, not just with sex, but there seems to be a lot of questions that come to you about infertility, about impotence, which we're going to name something different in a bit, and also about matching people based on their faces, which is actually an ancient Chinese custom that you mentioned, and I definitely want to talk about that. So if you've just tuned in, you are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, and we are going to start right now. So tell me how you got into sexual healing for yourself.
So I'm boy crazy from way back.
Perfect. Subject matter expert right there.
And, I'm an only child, but I have like 27 first cousins on my dad's side alone. We can't even count how many I have on my mom's side. 90% of them are guys. I was a tomboy. I was one of the younger cousins, so I was always with the boys because my older cousins were girls. I married a man who had 3 younger brothers. Okay. I gave birth to 4 sons myself.
There you go.
At age 18, I became a barber. And I've been a barber for over 30 years. And I've just always been in the presence, protected by, cloaked by men. And it has encouraged very candid and frank conversations.
Well, sure.
I have been very blessed and lucky to be the fly on the wall that guys will tell the truth in front of, and I tell women all the time, if we would just shut up, pause and listen, ask a poignant question and give a man time to think, he will dig deep down in the well and bring you up some truth serum, and so, I've been blessed to be a confidant to men. And I was given a really wonderful compliment by one of my clients. He said, Ty, you have the ability to be intimate with men without being sexual. And he hit the nail on the head, because without deciding that that's how I was labeling my intention, it certainly was a perfect description of how I conduct myself with them.
So from what you hear from men who basically tell you everything, what would you say their biggest beef with women is? What would be the number one thing that you hear the most sexually? Well, maybe not sexually. Intimacy, relationships.
They want us to make them wait. They won't always admit it because they don't think it's really available.
Okay.
But they would like to earn it. They would like to earn us.
Now that is a little different than what the perceived,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, but you're getting this straight from the man's mouth.
We've made it easy for them.
Okay.
Men are beginning to say that they're ready to roll up their sleeves and be more committed. They're ready to take the lead again. But women are still stuck on partying and wanting to get their hair and nails did and kind of using men as banks as opposed to being their beaux.
And have a relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can get rid of that stereotype. Along with experience, you use this as your Bible, and
Absolutely.
it was very interesting to me to look at it because it is Chinese, and I love all things Chinese.
Oh,
so
my.
a little biased, but the Tao of Sexology, the Book of Infinite Wisdom by Dr. Stephen T. Chang, and you said he's still alive.
Dr. Chang is in his 80s. He's alive and kicking and well and still very much a teacher. And he is actually the president of the foundation of the Tao of Sexology. Yeah.
Right.
The Tao itself, rather.
And I have always been of the belief, or I choose to believe, that sexuality and spirituality are hand-in-hand cousins. That the separation of religion and sex and sex is dirty, sex is wrong, that kind of teaching has really come full circle. And in seeing that when you are connected to source, when you are really turned on by life, then sexuality or having an orgasm, you say, oh God, for a reason, right? That feeling, that orgasmic feeling is in essence a part of being alive. And being alive is, for me, spirituality, being fully alive.
Yes.
So I opened the book, right?
I have owned a copy of that book since I was 18 years old. I'm now 46.
What?
And I've
And
always
you use
maintained.
oil of Olay.
I've always maintained.
Guess what page I accidentally, on purpose, opened up to you? I swear. I just opened it up. I was not looking, didn't flip through the front, and it said, Orgasm in Women, the 9 Levels.
The 9 levels.
Yes. So what's interesting is Davy Ward is one of my other sexperts that comes on occasionally as to co-host, and she is very well known because she brought the whole, there's 11 different kinds of orgasms that women can have. Now this is a little bit different. It doesn't contradict.
No.
But there's 9 levels. Do you know these off by heart?
I wouldn't describe them because Dr. Chang gives them a very general, kind of definitive description of what we do when we're at each level. But I will say this, kind of piggybacking on what you were saying earlier about women are still faking. They're not, satisfied. They're not even really expressing what it is they truly desire, and they're kind of stuck in, that we're not supposed to express such things.
Right.
But women are only either being taken or allowing themselves to go to the 4th level. They're only getting half of the experience. It's right there in the illustration on the previous page.
So then, the first level, just for kicks and giggles, lungs, energized organ is at level 1 is the lungs. The woman sighs, breathes heavily, and salivates.
Yes. So what Dr. Chang is saying here is that, Asian philosophy concerning health is very constitutional. So, and holistic in its approach, it deals with not just the body and symptoms, and it doesn't deal with body and symptoms at all. It deals with the body and feelings. If you have an ill feeling, you are attracting an illness. And constitutional therapy has to do with balancing one's feelings and one's energies in order to bring the body systems or biosystems back into alignment with nature and its original functioning, bring it back to optimal function.
Right.
So,
So that's
he will
1.
describe. Yeah.
2 is heart. The woman, while kissing the man, extends her tongue out to him. According to Su Wen, or Classic of the Internal by the Yellow Emperor, the tongue corresponds to the heart. 3, spleen, pancreas, and stomach. This is biosystems.
Yes.
As her muscles become activated, the woman grasps and holds the man tightly. Level 4, kidneys and bladder. Women experience a series of vaginal spasms at this time, and secretions begin to flow. So that's where we usually stop.
That's usually where we stop.
So let me look at 5.
Wait. Before you go to 5. So because that is where we usually stop, where we are stimulating the urinary system, you will see a lot of women with wide hips, which is an indication of water retention.
Interesting.
Because of stopping at that level.
And hips don't lie.
Hips don't lie.
Sorry. Yeah, okay.
And
So
then,
so interesting.
Also,
that's very interesting. So we're not completing our orgasmic cycle, and that's why we're retaining water.
Yeah. And also think in terms of oral stimulation for the clitoris. Also directly stimulates the kidneys and bladder. And we have a high incidence of urinary tract infections, not just because of oral sex, that's not what I'm saying, but because of stopping at that level.
Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So 5 is bones. The woman's joints loosen and she begins to bite the man.
Okay, so again, bones. A lot of women, we are now medically, historically being connected to osteoporosis after a certain age.
Yeah.
And if you're stopping at the 4th level and the 5th level stimulates,
so I have to bite more
the
men?
Bones, right? Well, I think really
what does that mean?
Well, okay, in order to build good bone,
right,
you have to do weight-bearing exercise. If you're bearing down on that man with your teeth, because he's taking you to that level of pleasure. He may deserve to be bitten because he's doing that well. But at the same time, you may be building bone
when you're bearing down so
on
it's
him.
Maybe not literal.
Literal.
Okay. 6, liver and nerves. The woman undulates and gyrates like a snake, trying to wrap her arms and legs around the man.
Now a real release is occurring. When the nervous system of a woman is engaged, we rely on our nervous systems a good 75-80%. Of the time, B vitamins are very important for women, which minister to the nervous system.
How much B?
Well, there's an entire B complex. There's B6, B12.
So if I were your client, what would you tell me? Would I need it?
Every woman needs.
it.
Especially women who have given birth. We just rely. Twice, 3, 4 times.
Yeah. So I could literally start just taking B complex, and how would that affect my orgasms?
Well, I would just say that it's in keeping with the theme of this show. It's about balancing.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I wouldn't say go out and start, chugging B vitamins.
You know me too well, right? It's all or nothing. That's why my website's forbalance.org, right?
Balance.
And that's why the show's called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. All right, 7.
I would say get your B vitamins out of your greens anyway. Don't go out and get the capsules. You don't want to separate the nutriments from its natural source. If you get it in its natural source, it's, again, more balanced.
Okay, good. 7, blood. Woman's blood is boiling. She is frantically trying to touch the man everywhere. Okay. This is good. 8, muscles. Her muscles totally relax. She bites even more and grabs the man's nipples.
Which some dudes really respond to that. I have a friend who really responds to twisted nipples.
Okay. I do too, but I am keeping my mouth shut.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second, if we may.
Yes, please.
A woman's breasts send a direct signal to her uterus and her vagina. Any woman who's ever breastfed knows that when the baby, you can think about your baby and begin to express milk.
Yes.
Okay, I had to literally distract myself when breastfeeding with like watching, I don't know, Ricky Lake or whatever, back in the day when I was having my children, because it stimulated my clit when my baby would nurse. And, so also
it's
what
just
happens.
a natural connection.
It's a natural connection between the breast, the uterus, and the clitoris, and maybe even the bladder. The other thing is when after giving birth, you still continue to have contractions while the uterus is shrinking.
Okay.
Well, breastfeeding will help encourage the uterus to contract and get smaller, so the tummy gets smaller, faster, firmer. But again, breastfeeding stimulates the uterus and the vagina. So,
so it's not a bad thing to play with that.
Oh, not at all. I encourage men to make love to the whole woman. Kiss her, come down her neck to the breast. Yes, we're engaging the entire endocrine system when doing so, which is a hot box of energy, again, waiting to boil over.
Do you teach your sons?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, you do? Okay, say they know how to treat a woman.
Oh, my gosh. My son, my baby boy is 18. When he was 16, he came to me and said, Mom, what does girth mean? And I went, what does Webster say? And so he says, well, Webster said that it has to do with width and thickness. And I was like, oh, God, Jesus. So we're going to have this conversation. That day, my son and I talked until 5 a.m. about sex. I shared everything I pretty much know. He got more out of me than his older brothers did. Yeah, we had a wonderful, candid conversation about erectile dysfunction, erectile performance and everything. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. And we're going to get to that in a second, but the last level, the entire body is energized. This is level 9. She collapses in a little death. She completely surrenders to the man and is completely opened up.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're saying that we're not, on average, we're not getting to that point. We stop at 4. And then the feeling of it not being complete is a normal feeling because we're not going to all 9 levels.
Yes. And here's a benchmark for you, for guys. When you've done well and she revives from that little death, she wants to get up and make you a sandwich.
And if she doesn't, you ain't done. Yes. Okay. So let's go to one of the things that is about sexual healing, and that is impotency. I've had listeners and people message in asking, is it because it's all over Viagra and now there's a new one,
and another one.
So and is it? I was just at Starbucks having a coffee and sitting across from this couple, and they were just doing an all-out talking about, whether her man should or shouldn't use it and what it means, and he uses it, and here's the problem. It's like, wow, I had no idea it is that prevalent now.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
So tell me, what's the natural solution to impotence, and why do you not call it impotence?
Impotence is just not a nice word. Men don't want to be associated with impotency.
No power.
Exactly.
Right. And I'm just going to say, if you've just tuned in and you're wondering what the heck we're talking about today, this is Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balance with Dr. Marissa. And we are on our last week of the month series called Sexual Healing with Dr. Marissa, the new Asian Dr. Ruth. And my guest today is the sexpert, Tanyetta Denier. And you can find her on her website
at Heal Thy Sexy Life. Healthy, sexy life.
Oh, very clever. Healthy, Heal Thy Sexy Life. And so, go ahead.
So, I use the word erectile performance.
Okay.
Because that's the goal.
Right.
And as far as a natural way to overcome, understand that the biosystem that is affected when there is a lack of performance in the erectile region is the circulatory system.
Okay.
Many people would immediately say, oh, it's a reproductive problem. It's a blood issue. It's a blood flow issue.
Okay.
Okay. So the way to engorge a penis. One is to bring a scarf to bed, ladies. Are you listening? Bring a scarf to bed.
Okay.
Okay. Whatever way pleases you and your mate to engage his penis fully erect, whether it be oral stimulation or by hand. Once you get him to, a firmness that pleases, you can tie a scarf at the base of his penis before his pelvis. And that traps the blood, so that there's a normal flow where it's ebbing and flowing, coming in and out. Well, and he's throbbing, and with every throb, it pumps blood into the shaft, up into the head.
Okay.
And the head becomes larger and more defined, and a more defined head is more pleasure for a woman. Okay. So when you tie the base of the penis with a scarf, the blood is trapped and it doesn't flow out as fast, so he's less likely to
lose
his erection, right? Okay,
Okay.
so for
50 Shades of Pink.
when we think in terms of prevalence in our culture nowadays, you think about the high incidence of diabetes. Diabetes is a circulatory disease. It is also a digestive disease. And so diabetic men are reaching for Viagra and Cialis and whatever that third thing is in order to be able to continue to perform in the presence of diabetes.
Okay, so
So there is an exercise that one can do. And I personally was once married to a diabetic man. And 4 years into our marriage, it was a full-on challenge for him. And I had owned this book since I was 18. By the time we began to address the issue literally and actively, I was in my late 20s, early 30s.
Okay.
We had 4 children, so no one thought that we had
any
performance issues.
Absolutely
right?
not.
However, in the confidence and confines of our bedroom, he one day confided in me, and I knew he was ready. I had been wanting to share this information with him for years, but he wasn't
He
ready
had to be
receive
ready.
it yet.
So
Exactly.
it's not your recommendation that women sort of buy this book and put it by the bedstand.
I absolutely do recommend that.
Okay.
Right? But here's the thing. Women have a role in it because my role in it was to sit in the middle of our bed with the book while he sat on the edge of a chaise lounge beside our bed. And I read to him the Dear Exercise in that book.
Okay.
And the Dear Exercise, very simply explained, is a man sitting with his rear end on the edge of a seat, his testicles dangling, his testicles being held in the palm of his hand for warmth.
Okay.
And then he places his hand flat up against, if you give me the book, I
Sure.
can maybe show you the illustration. But he places his hand flat up against his pelvis, between his belly button and his pelvis, rather. There it is right there. And he rubs so many circles in one direction and then rubs so many circles in the opposite direction. Honest to goodness, something that had been a challenge for us for years was solved in the time that it took for my husband to do however many rotations of this rubbing to his penis while cupping and keeping his testicles warm. Then he climbed up in the bed with me and we made love for an entire hour for the first time in years.
So this stuff really works.
It really works.
And it has no side effects.
No, because it's
not a drug.
non-invasive. It's non-invasive.
I'm all for that.
An interesting remembrance came to me yesterday. And, I've spoken to your producer about this on many occasions because we're personal friends. But I just remembered I hadn't told him this part. I had a dear friend who was also a very close friend of my husband's. We were a church family. And he had erectile performance issues. And he was not only taking Viagra, but he was selling Viagra, a pill at a time. And I can talk about him because I'm not going to say his name, and he's also no longer with us. But he was selling the pills for $50 each. And his wife and he and I made an appointment. I had begun to give him salt glows, which helped to improve the circulation in his legs. He began to overcome the edema and swelling in his legs and feet. He was beginning to be able to wear shoes and socks without them cutting into his flesh because the swelling was going down. He was beginning to go hiking with me in the mountains, which was something he couldn't do because his feet hurt so bad all the time. And as I was doing these salt glows, which was literally rubbing him with liquid aloe vera and coarse ground sea salt to dehydrate the inorganic water that he was retaining out of his flesh, because the skin is our biggest eliminative organ.
She knows her stuff.
While he lay there pretending to sleep, his penis began to bounce. And it had never been reacting before. And I knew that the circulatory system was being corrected and
balanced,
decongested from head to toe. And
Beautiful.
So, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
beautiful?
Yeah.
And so, liquid aloe vera, or aloe vera in general, creates new cells. So, and then sea salt is an alkalizing agent as well as a dehydrating agent. So those two or three elements together was doing something amazing.
Okay.
And so he decided that he no longer wanted to use Viagra to perform with his wife. He didn't want the drug to be in control of his desire or his ability to fulfill his desire and his wife's. So we made an appointment to rent a hotel room, and I read this procedure to him, and when he had an automated erection, and I witnessed it, never having to touch him. I sat on a sofa. He sat on the floor, and did this while I
read it.
Yes, while I instructed him, and then once we knew we had a full-on erection that needed no more talking to, I called his wife and said,
"Head
He's
on
ready."
over.
Exactly. I left and she came, and that was it. Well, I'm sorry, she came
literally
twice.
came. Yeah, she came. That's great. That's great. Thanks for sharing. I mean, this is exactly why I do this show, because there are ways to really heal and to enjoy orgasms, men and women, that based on ancient Chinese secrets, literally, that we don't have to take a pill for. And thank you for that. And we're going to come back with more of that after we thank the sponsors who make this show possible. We'll be back in 2. Peace in and peace out.
Do you want more life balance? Are you 88% happy with your health and well-being, your relationships, your livelihood? If yes, do the Abundance. If no, and you'd like a life balance tune-up and align those head, heart, spark plugs and smog check the BS belief systems that are clogging your lifelines, contact Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura, at www.4balance.org for a session on the air or a private one on the beach.
Looking for a rejuvenating getaway? Then Salt Oasis is your answer. This holistic wellness center allows you to escape your worries while absorbing nature's healing properties. Salt therapy has been a trusted way to help individuals suffering from a wide range of respiratory and autoimmune disorders to skin conditions and anxiety. Salt Oasis is conveniently located in Rancho Cucamonga near Victoria Gardens. Call 909-291-7258. That's 909-291-7258 and plan your escape into wellness. And welcome. You are tuned in still to Sexual Healing with Dr. Marissa, the last week of every month on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, and my sexpert today is Tanyetta Denier. I got it. And we've been talking about natural ways for men to hold their erection or to have a better erection. And there's another tip. This is definitely the episode for men. Okay. And women. And women, because it's good for women when it's good for a man. Yeah. So tell me about the S. Is it 9?
Yes, so that we were talking about how women are being kind of stuck at level 4, even though there's 9 stages of orgasm. And once your man is now experiencing a full-on erection, maybe sometimes if having had erectile performance issues, he's now a little out of practice.
Okay.
The muscles may have atrophied a bit, and there's some strengthening exercises that he can do. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So one of the workouts in bed that actually brings a woman that he can use to bring his mate to the 9th level is to do the holdbacks. They're done in sets of 9. So, for example, he would do 1 deep stroke.
Okay.
And 8 shallow strokes, then 2 deep strokes and 7 shallow strokes, then 3 deep strokes and 6 shallow strokes,
rhythm here.
Until he gets to 9 deep strokes and 1 shallow stroke. And then he'd go back the other way. It's a thinking process that he has to put himself through, but it's a distraction therapy that keeps him from thinking about ejaculating.
Okay.
So that his mate can get to the 9th level. And he can do that however long as he's counting and stroking deeply and shallowly. Right? Mm-hmm. And then, if you find your man a little, where maybe he's getting overly excited and wants to have his special moment a little before yours, then bite him a little bit.
Okay.
Nibble on him
this
a little bit.
This is not boot camp. This is this is booty camp.
Booty camp.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, we're going to move on to the next topic because I'm turning more shades of red. So yeah, I've got orange highlights on here. Okay, so we did have a question from a listener about infertility. In fact, that seems to be on the rise. There are more and more couples experiencing infertility, lots and lots and lots of money being spent on infertility treatments. Yes. Do you have a natural solution to infertility?
It's nourishment.
Nourishment, okay.
Nourishment. And the endocrine system has to be nourished. The endocrine system needs to be awakened. The endocrine system is our glandular system.
Okay.
So there are the ovaries for women, the prostate and the testicles for men, the adrenal glands, the thyroid, thymus, pineal gland, and pituitary gland. Mm-hmm. And in Asian philosophy, that energy will sit like a hot pot at the tailbone, at the lower part of the spine. Mm. And when those organs, or should I say glands, are well nourished and working at optimal level, they're cleansed, they're activated, mm-hmm. Then it is a generator for the body, those glands, and that energy will rise. And on a meditative level, when those glands are working optimally, mm-hmm. there are no stoppages in the body, and one can reach the 8th chakra energetically, because all of those of those glands are aligned with the chakras, the 7 other chakras throughout the body.
Then conceiving a child is just a natural output of that alignment. Okay.
So then nourishment, herbs are food, mm-hmm. food is medicine. Mm-hmm. So there are herbs and food that you can eat and take in concentrated forms. I like to call it concentrated nourishment. Okay. There are that will oh Lord,
put you on the spot.
Well, really, it's a combination. Like there are female combination herbal formulas that I share in consultation with clients. And I put together nutritional programs, concentrated nourishment programs that include proper eating, proper exercise, proper rest. So what I have for you more than the actual food or herbs is a story. I was doing I had a consultation business out of our apartment in Burbank. And I had a waterman who would deliver around the same hours that I was doing my consultation. So I would just leave my door open. He'd come in, deliver water. One day he stopped. I'd finished with a client. He says, "What do you do here?" And I explained, because I had posters up of the, anatomy posters and things like that. And it just was a very clinical looking environment. And he says, and I told him, I said, "I do health consultations." And he says, "My wife and I were trying to have a baby. Have you ever helped someone with infertility? We don't want to have a litter of kids. We just want to have one." He's like, "I'm a waterman. I can only afford one kid." So it just so happened I had helped another couple who was suffering with fibroids. And the wife had a fibroid that had grown to the size of a grapefruit. And after doing some directives that I had given her to do nutritionally, dietarily, cleansing, juice formulas, within a week, her tumor had shrunk to the size of a lemon. And understand, I am simply suggesting to people what I know, what I've learned from my mentors that has historically been effective with certain foods. It's not that we ever think that we can correct a disease. That's not the approach that we take.
Thank you.
And so when I shared the same directives with him, he paid me to put together a little herbal formula and some juice. He and his wife, and that's the other thing, I treated the husband and the wife, giving them concentrated nourishment for both of their different reproductive systems. And a few months later, he was like, "We're pregnant."
A few months. And they've been trying other solutions for a long time?
Yes.
Yeah. So tell me, I believe that one of the reasons that couples cannot conceive is the stress that comes from wanting to conceive so badly.
Absolutely.
that there's blockage.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
Body, mind, spirit, soul.
Yeah. You know, it's just like in The Secret where Bob Proctor said, you know, if you're concentrating on debt, then all you're going to get is debt. He said, leave the debt to the debt consolidation people and focus on wealth. You know, so if you're worrying about if you can or cannot, then you cannot conceive. If you're worrying about, you know, not being able to conceive, you won't. So be more concerned with the bond and closeness of you and your mate. The loving environment that you want to bring a child into. You know, start nesting, start decorating, paint that nursery. You know,
but doesn't that set up people for disappointment? Because if you set up that space and it still doesn't happen.
Well, don't you have to move the old car out of the garage before you can bring a new one in? You know, you can't leave the old broken down car in the garage. You know, and then the other thing is the nourishment. A part of the nourishment is creating the good feeling space around wanting to bring a baby into a life space where a desire for parenthood exists in the heart and mind of the mother and father first.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And any BS belief system, stupid thoughts around I'm being punished or I'm not meant to, or, you know, something is, just drop all that. Don't even go there.
Like a hot potato.
Exactly, exactly.
You know, that's something I got from Eckhart Tolle. A student asked him, well, how do I change my mind? He said, how do you drop a hot potato?
Yeah, exactly. I know the most powerful thing we have is called choice.
Yes.
And I'm constantly yelling at my clients with love to choose a better feeling thought.
Yes.
It's as simple as that. So I agree with you. Okay.
And that,
we're coming
the
towards
Tao of sexology is all about
that.
loving
I'm
each
gonna have
other.
to read this. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to read
this. In the back of that book, there's even prayers to pray while tangled up in positions.
Oh.
Meditative sex and lovemaking.
Oh.
Yummy stuff.
Yes.
Yummy stuff.
Yes. And on that note, because it's all about me, I heard from Jarvis that I need to ask you something about sex and Chinese women and faces. So here we go.
Facial analysis is something that this ancient Tao, which means the way, practice teaches people to utilize for choosing a mate, for choosing a partner. And, you know, we have these, these societal stereotypes where a man with big hands and a man with big feet and this, that, and the other. However, Asian women have thick eyelids. And the eyelid is indicative of the walls of the vagina.
Oh.
So thick eyelids mean thick walls.
Is it good to have a thick wall? I mean, usually I don't want to be called thick.
If a man, black women want to be called thick. Black men call their women thick.
Okay. Well, I mean, men thick, that's another story, but we're not going there. Okay, so thick.
Thick means more cushion for the pushing. Sorry. Right?
Perfect.
Inside and out.
Perfect.
That's why the booty is such a big thing nowadays, right? So
beautiful. So it's a good thing that I have
thick walls.
Thick walls.
So
and thick eyelids.
A man who desires a tight fit, who loves the special fit of the inside of a woman, and he wants a tight fit that maybe pulls and holds him inside.
So that's
thick
the reason
walls will
why,
do that.
That's I always thought it was because men wanted subservient women that they were attracted to Asian women, but obviously I missed that boat.
Well,
anyways, okay, and then what? So let me use the last couple of minutes on something that just continues to come up for many, many women, and it did come up in our men's panel when we talked about women getting, they're in a relationship, everything's good. Through the years, they begin to get heavier, and they gain weight. They get to the point where they don't look like they used to, and it's more difficult to keep yourself, in that skinny modeling kind of shape. And so you feel bad about the way you look. You feel fat. You feel unattractive. You try to work out. You try to diet, and it just doesn't. You never get back to where you were. You're self-conscious about the way you look. You don't like the way you look, so you don't even bother wanting to meet someone or to date, or you want to, but you're frustrated because they want the skinny model, and you're never going to be. And so we think so that whole. What would you say to the average woman, and I have a lot of average women listeners who have hit me up with this, what would be your advice for a woman, an average woman who really has given up on wanting to be in a relationship or wanting to date or doing anything because they just cannot seem to feel good about the way they look? Clothes on or clothes off.
Forgive yourself. All roads lead back to you. All roads lead back to self. All forgiveness is self-forgiveness. And so men only want a confident woman. They don't care what we look like because we look different from them. And that's all they care about. They want someone who looks different from them. So if we're thicker, more cushy, that feels very much unlike themselves, and it's what causes them to get aroused. To bump up against something that is softer than them, to have a soft place to fall is what a man wants. He doesn't care about the extra weight.
I want to believe you.
It's just more.
I want to believe you.
Now we're not talking about the shallow little boys who are stuck on, public image and what other people think. We're talking about men, real men, grown men who want a grown ass woman.
I'm going to have to bleep that one out. All right. A grown
woman. A grown man wants a grown woman, and a grown woman sometimes puts on a little extra weight. When you look at the old, portraits and oil paintings from the
Renaissance. I know. I've been pushing the Renaissance.
Every
lately.
woman looks like a little cherub, a little chubby cherub. Yeah.
So it starts with with you forgiving yourself for where
forgive
you
yourself
are.
for how you have judged yourself for the little bit of weight that you've gained, even if it's a lot of weight. Forgive yourself, because if you want to get rid of the weight, you're not going to holding on to resentment or regret. You let go of the regret, you let go of the weight.
You listening? Am I listening? Yeah. Beautiful.
A man wants a confident woman. Just like confidence is sexy. I don't, the least sexy thing is an insecure man.
Yeah. You can say amen to that. Okay. How do we find you again? Because I know I'm going to have listeners going, what? Where I need to talk to her?
Tanyetta Denier I'm at Facebook, Healthy or Heal Thy Sexy Life.
Okay.
On Facebook.
Heal Thy Sexy Life.
Yes.
Healthy or Heal Thy Sexy Life.
And the website is coming. So if you go to the Facebook page, you'll find out when the website is up.
Yeah, and they can always contact you there, message you there.
Absolutely.
If they want a consultation.
Please.
And
I do natural health consultations. I am a certified natural health coach, iridologist, and herbalist. I was taught by some of the greatest natural health pioneers in our country. I'm about 3 generations from the originators of herbalism in this country, Dr. Jethro Kloss, who is famous for Back to Eden, and Dr. Oh my goodness, I can't remember his first name. John Christopher. Dr. John Christopher, who wrote the Mucusless Diet, and everyone is familiar with his work because he designed the Master Cleanse, that spicy lemonade everyone's always drinking.
Right.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So I'm one generation away from them.
That's great.
Dr. Ivy Bridge and Dr. Bernard Jensen were my mentors.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I have learned so much from you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming on. No, really.
This is awesome.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Healthy, Sexy Life on Facebook. All right, we are down to the end of the wire, or the end of the show called The Balance Bar. where I get to tell you where you can find me and how to support me and all that kind of good stuff. First of all, congratulations to Janina Eravata. I hope I said that correctly. She is the third person only in the last 49 months. So since July 1st, 2011, when I began the 21-day fast from complaining with Dr. Marissa, way back there with 40 people, we're now almost 10,000. And if you register on forbalance.org, we start every first of the month. I post for 21 days balance tips on how to stay complaint free. And if you register and then tell me that you did 21 days in a row, you win a free pack of my motivational cards that accompany the fast, called 52, lots of numbers, 52 card Pick Me Up Stacking the Deck for Life Balance with Dr. Marissa. So congratulations to Janina, and we'll give her a little applause there. She did let me know she finished 21 days in a row, and she's actually done some more even when we're off the fast. So I'm very, very proud of you, and congratulations to you. So August 1st, we'll start round 50. So join me, sign up on forbalance.org, come to Facebook for the tips, and LinkedIn, and sometimes on Instagram for those balance tips on how to stay not complaining, and also on YouTube. This Saturday, I really, I only do 2 retreats per year for the public, and one's in Sedona the weekend after Mother's Day, and one's on the sand by the sea, and that is this Saturday. So if you pre-register, you save $20. It's only $88 for 9 to 2, includes a healthy lunch. And if you forbalance.org, you can register there. If you want to if you're a last minute kind of person, come to Seal Beach, and it's 7th and the ocean. So it's near Lifeguard Station 3, but you can park in the Seal Beach lot on the north side, and it's, I think, $6. So not a lot, but bring your beach chairs. No experience necessary. I'm going to be teaching still meditation, moving meditation, and other tools, balance tools to keep that critical BS belief systems out of your head. So I want to see you this Saturday. My Dr. Marissa Asian Oprah giveaway is one free DVD at the retreat. If you come there, that's worth $20. So the Balance Tai Chi Gong, promoting inner peace one breath at a time, and that's for today's giveaway. If you message me on Facebook, then I'll know who you are. Also, let's see, was there anything else? Oh, if you missed Marianne from Gilligan's Island last week, she was phenomenal. Please go to my YouTube or my iTunes. You can find all of my past episodes there, and make sure you give me a thumbs up. That would be really awesome to continue to support this show and be partners in bringing peace work around the planet. And that's it. Next week, we will be having a little party for my birthday on the air. I'm going to be bringing some of the new hosts, some of the old hosts from both my stations, UBN and CNBC, and we're going to party and talk about whatever you want to talk about. So that is next week on Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa Pay. That's P for positive, EI. And remember, it's all about balance. Peace in and peace out.
To cry at an early age. People around me, my heart in a cage. It was a book, don't turn a page. I couldn't see past my rage. I wanted to dance, but I pushed you away. Now I'm on my knees, I'll listen to what you say. And
on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Hi, this is Steve Sanchez, and you hear me every weekend on my show talk about the importance of a financial plan, planning for your retirement, planning for your children's college education fund. Unfortunately, most people don't realize that they need to set up a foundation before any good financial plan can come into place. That's where life insurance comes in. Now, most people think life insurance is just an expense, but it's not. It can be a way of life, a standard of living when someone, the breadwinner, is literally removed out of the picture because of a premature death. Look, I believe in it. I've got life insurance for my